to get a better understanding.
Hey, hi, hello, killer. Secrets of Ancient.
Of who Michael was, and hopefully a lead that could point to a motive for the killing.
He seemed like a fun-loving person. He got along with everybody, kind of a free spirit. He'd been married and divorced and had a few kids. They all loved him, and he got along with everybody. I think even his ex-wife got along with him very well.
It's apparent early on that Michael DeHakis definitely lived the hippie lifestyle. His home is in a low-income section of town that is known for its transient populations. And yet, everything detectives are being told about Michael DeHakis, what friends and family and known associates say about him, is that he's the most stable and reliable guy they know.
He was a very charismatic person, almost always had a smile on his face.
Everyone said wonderful things about Michael, that he was a caring person, he was a joyful person, just this nice, peaceful soul type of guy. The more you heard about him, the more you kind of wished that you met him.
My relationship with Michael initially was he was my yoga instructor. A friend of mine introduced me to Michael because he was in his yoga class, and I had never taken yoga before, and so he introduced me to Michael, and we grew to be rapid friends. It's a person you could get along with very, very easily.
Besides his knowledge of yoga, his charisma might have had something to do with his popularity with the female students.
And he had long flowing hair, and he dressed like a hippie. He didn't have a car. He actually drove a bicycle everywhere he went, and the girls loved him.
Everyone said he was very charismatic, that he was flirtatious. He loved the women, and they loved him.
He is the last person that anybody would want to murder.
But someone did, and friends and family are shocked when it happens.
I drove home from work and was watching the local news when it came up with a news story of a murder that had occurred midtown. And I heard Michael's name mentioned as the victim of a burglary gone wrong.
When we got word that a man was shot to death on the front porch of his home, of course it sounded at first that it might have been a botched burglary.
We felt that we did have a foiled burglary. The victim had come home and stopped the intruders. There appeared to be items stacked outside his residence. There was guitar cases, a violin case, a handbag was found on the sawhorse on the side of the house next to these stored violins and guitars. And there was a broken window in the front of the porch area. It looked like it went into a kitchen. Upon going into the residence, we were able to see that there were more musical instruments placed inside the kitchen door to go outside. There was an amplifier, a guitar stand.
And the thought was that perhaps because this was a neighborhood that had been burglarized frequently, that it was natural that the police started looking at known burglars.
We did find a large shoe print, like kind of a waffle shoe print outside the front door.
Could this be just another random attack gone wrong? Or has Michael's charisma attracted some unwanted attention?
There were many different scenarios coming through.
Both of them had been taken into custody, and the handgun was involved.
She had gotten drunk and pointed that pistol at her own husband.
Tucson, Arizona has a darker side, with crime, drugs, poverty, and a rash of home robberies in the Midtown area. Michael DeHakis, a yoga instructor and free spirit, is gunned down on his front porch in what looks like a robbery gone wrong.
We found items that were kind of a disarray in his bedroom. It looked like there was an area where there was a lot of musical instruments. Well, they weren't there anymore. They were out in the side yard.
The Tucson Medical Examiner estimates the time of death to be sometime late Thursday evening.
She felt that the rigor mortis had not set in anywhere from 3 to 5 hours from the time we found him at 6 a.m.
But determining time of death by measuring rigor mortis in the body is not an exact science.
Rigor mortis is the stiffening of the muscles. It's a chemical reaction, but it doesn't always tell you an accurate time of death. It's estimated. Unless you're there, you see the person die. That's what everything is an estimate.
The medical examiner shows detectives there is no exit wound.
We were able to turn the victim over and find there was not an exit wound. It was a defect that was against the skull in the back, consistent with the bullet still being in his brain.
Detectives checked for a spent shell casing that would typically indicate an automatic handgun, but there is none to be found. They determined the weapon is most likely a revolver. A .38 caliber slug is retrieved during the autopsy, but an interesting star pattern around the entrance wound and hand scratches consistent with gun struggle piqued detectives' curiosity.
There was some burn patterns on the victim's forehead by the entrance of the wound, consistent with someone standing a few feet away and firing a handgun. It was close enough to leave the gassy particles burn pattern on his forehead.
Everything detectives learn only substantiates the robbery theory.
Returning back to the police station, my partner and I went through all the most recent burglary arrests.
So they figured somebody had come in, burglarized it, and as they were walking out of the house, Michael was coming in, and that's when he got shot.
We contacted burglary detectives and found out that 2 known burglars had been arrested in the area of where Michael lived.
Robbery Division shows detectives 2 suspects, Joseph Keys and David Wynn.
They were known burglars in the area. The burglary that they were arrested for, I believe, on Sunday evening, there was a guitar involved. So that kind of piqued our interest. We were excited about that. We went to the jail and interviewed these 2 individuals. So they were pretty much defiant and hardcore criminals serving prison time before. So we didn't get a lot of information from them, but one of them we were able to do a search warrant on his house.
Police race to the suspect's home to search for evidence, hoping they can tie it to Michael's murder. Detectives find what looks like blood splatter on a bandana, pants, and shoes.
At that time, we felt very likely that we found our suspect and that we had the right person.
Detectives send the bandana, pants, and shoe for blood analysis and request the shoe be matched against the footprint found at the crime scene. If the blood matches Michael's, their robbery hunch will have paid off.
We knew we had some more follow-up to do, but our team was excited about that.
While they await lab results, detectives continue to build a profile on Michael, following up with known contacts and family.
From the day that the murder happened, just was nonstop. My time during the weekend after the murder, I spent contacting many of Michael's contacts that were in his cell phone. Cell phones were somewhat new at the time, so it was difficult.
As police started piecing together Michael's life and who knew him, who hung out with him, who he knew, it came up pretty quickly that he was seeing a woman who was younger than he was by about 15 years. He had been in his yoga class, but they started having an affair. And her name was Amber Trudell.
Amber's name was on the top of his contact list. I did leave a message with her, but she never got back to me.
Detective Jimenez finds it odd that Amber does not return his call after the killing. Detectives also recall Michael's kids relating their story of meeting Amber and the way she reacted to their dad spending time with them. For Michael, a devoted father to his 4 kids, Amber's erratic behavior creates stress in their relationship.
I had not known him prior to his relationship to Amber. He was flirtatious, and he had that type of personality, the look that fit the yoga instructor.
Michael is known to give private yoga lessons to students from time to time.
He gave her private lessons because she was rather shy and didn't like to go to the yoga class with everybody else.
But Michael and Amber's relationship quickly goes beyond student and teacher. They are lovers.
He described his relationship as being on and off. Not that it was volatile or anything like that, but they would be fine for a couple of weeks, and then she'd get mad at him, and then she'd stop seeing him, and then they'd go back on together. I could see why Michael liked her. She was good looking, and it seemed like an odd match initially because of the fact that it was on and off all the time. But Michael was just having fun.